Fu. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everyone. Today we're going to be continuing our series of Wing Chun book reviews. Today we're going to be doing Complete Wing Chun, a definitive guide to Wing Chun's history and traditions. Robert Chu, Rene Ritchie, and Mai Wu. So basically what this is a bit different to some of the other books that I've reviewed so far. It's more of a history and lineage book rather than a technique manual, essentially. It's not training, but there's a few stills and shots in there of people practicing. There's quite a few photos of people doing things, but don't expect to learn detailed, technical descriptions. Do this move, then this one, then this one. There's sort of in each section, in each sort of lineage of the Kung Fu that Wing Chun that they look at, they do go and do a kind of sort of technical overview. These are the forms that are in it, a brief description, but it's not a user manual. It's not a how-to guide. It is a history book. So with that in mind, my review is if that's what you're looking for, if you're into that kind of thing, and I'm massively into that. I'm a massive Kung Fu nerd. I love learning about history. I love learning about the variations in the law. I love hearing people spin on it. I love oral history. I love all that stuff. It's fantastic. It's interesting. It's great. Then this is the book for you, because this is a fantastic book. Because what they've done is, rather than the standard way of approaching this, which in sort of Chinese, very traditional Confucian society, is the history that was passed down to me directly by my teacher is, as writ, that is exactly what it is, and I will regurgitate that back to you. And that is what I know, and this is the truth, right? Even though there's about 10 people in different lineages and stuff, all telling slightly different stories. So that's what you ended up with. And so when people did their sort of history and law books, they basically did their take on what they thought the Wing Chun history was, or the Wing Chun law, or the Wing Chun legends were, and they just presented that as one version. Now, what these authors have done, which is a brilliant idea, and I'm so glad they did it, is they got a bunch of guys who aren't sort of politically affiliated with any particular lineage or style. They do certain things, but they're not really into it. They're not trying to sell their own thing particularly. And they went around loads of different teachers, and they listened to what they said their story was, and then they independently wrote each one down under each lineage, under each major section. So you've got like Yip Man Wing Chun, you've got like Fo Shun Wing Chun, you've got Singaporean Wing Chun, like Vietnamese Wing Chun. You've got all these different areas where they've got different stories, lineages, and histories. And they just recorded exactly as it is. So each section of the book is a branch, a lineage of Wing Chun, the oral history of it and who the major teachers are, and then a description of the style and what bits are in it. And the thing I found fascinating and so interesting is that there was a huge diversity of styles that I'd never heard of before when I read this book. So, and they put this in an unbiased way. They just presented what each ones were, and then they did at the end say, and this is what our take on it all is in a final chapter. But essentially what they did is they just showed you all these different variations. And there's some of it that's really interesting. Like there's some of the more, not the Hong Kong or the Yip Man lineage ones. Some of them are really interesting and really wacky, and they've got loads of like 20 or 30 forms, and they've got loads of other stuff in them, and they've got loads of bits that to me seem much more similar to things like White Crane and other sort of southern, sort of more internally style martial arts, where they have these static forms, and they have Qigong forms, and they have all this kind of thing. And I find that fascinating because I've learned from several different lineages, but all within the Yip Man overall lineage. So various of my teachers have come from different teachers of Yip Man, and they're diverse enough as it is, right? And then there's these whole other branches of Wing Chun, which I just find great. So if you like history and you like martial arts legends and history and sort of detailed accounts of like, this style has these forms and all these ones have this, and also the principles, which is another thing I'll come back to in a minute, then definitely check out this book. This book is a fantastic read. It's probably not going to make your Wing Chun any better. It's not going to give you a deeper understanding of the technical aspects of the art, really. But it's a fascinating read, and it will give you a broad understanding of all the different variations that are out there, and potentially some of the reasons for that as well. So it's an excellently researched book. It's very clearly written. It's on the other sort of technical aspects, it's of high quality. The stills where they include them are good, and the showcasing different styles. I also really like the they've got like a full lineage diagram, which is really fascinating again, because like the Yip Man component of this, you're sort of used to seeing these in Wing Chun books. The Wing Chun, the Yip Man component of it is like just a small bit at the top, when normally that's the whole page, so what I was used to seeing. And then also it's very well finished off with a good technical glossary. They use one of my comments would be the as a Mandarin speaker, they do use the somebody who's not a speaker but learning Mandarin. They do of course use Cantonese pronunciation and pinyin, which can be a little bit confusing at times. And then also sometimes they move between sort of Beijing standard Mandarin in terms of the text and writing, the characters, and sometimes the old style, but minor gripe. But because they'll all be, I think one guy's Taiwanese and the other guy's Cantonese, so they'll all be used to using the classical, the old style characters, the non-simple line. So that's their remit to do. So yeah, it's a well presented, very well written book. It's a beautiful style, very nicely put together. The other thing that I particularly like about this, and I'll say this is the best part of the book for me, is that every part, on top of the history and everything else, they discuss the principles of the martial arts. So you'll have little bits where they'll go in and say, oh, they'll break down a principle. So for example, bit jing, or crowding power. Yeah, so bit crowding, and then jing, energy, effort, force. So for example, this is constant forward pressure is the way that I would learn this principle, and then they'll discuss the principle and what it means and how it's applied in this particular style. So that is the bit that I find the most useful. The other stuff's great from a nerdy, understanding Kung Fu point of view, but if you want to get something out of it for your practice, and reflect and ponder and consider and get deeper and better at your practice, then the component that is in this book that is good for you is the bit where they analyse the training phrases and the sayings and the principles of each art. Yeah, excellent book. Again, Complete Wing Chun, fantastic history book. Not a technical manual, but I say, in terms of the, a sort of history and guide to what Wing Chun is and what the lineages are, this is the best book out there that I've read, by a long shot. So this is another one that I give a full 5 stars. If simply Wing Chun is the technical book to buy, this is the sort of history and lore book to buy. Okay, thank you very much, and best of luck with the training. See you next time.